What's up, YouTube? We have another helicopter here. I've just purchased and I picked this up. Actually, was shipped out, delivered yesterday. This new Tron 7.0. Right behind there is actually not my Tron. That's actually a Line 700 with the Tron canopy. That's the my Align 700E DFC. It's an awesome helicopter as well, and I'm actually gonna compare the two of them. Just the differences and just the way a helicopter has evolved in a course of 10 years or more. Anyways, one thing I do want to touch base on is I was debating, whether I should or not get this specific model, just because I've been hearing and reading and was told that it was practically a clone, and that it was taking away from Synergy, um, heli models designed by Matt Bodos. I understand, that might, as far as that may sound, it's kind of a rough statement to say that they stole his design. I mean, granted, he worked and worked for them. I mean, if you work for a company, I would think that they're not gonna shut down their entire company for someone who's gonna either be let go or you know I mean, I don't know what the backstory behind it is. I mean, if he was bad for business or he was good, whatever it was, um, I I guess the main point was that if they stole a design or I don't think it's safe to say it's a clone. I mean, it kind of looks like its own thing, and it's kind of just like saying. I mean, I came to the conclusion, just to kind of make myself feel a little more confident with picking up this specific model. Um, was just kind of looking into the way helicopters themselves and as far as every brand has evolved over time. I mean, I can't say. I mean, is it fair to say that you know Matt Bodos came up with the belted tail? I mean, because that'd be stealing. I mean, if some other heli brands have a belted tail, I mean, how come we don't mention that? I mean, it's the hobby's gonna evolve, guys, and it's not gonna be what it used to be. Companies are always gonna copy from each other. I mean, Align has they're famous for their torque tubes. They love the torque tube. They're finally veering away from that. Their new Align TB or BT70 is coming with the belted tail, and that helicopter looks kind of. I mean, if I if it didn't have any markings or any branding on it, I'd say on a normal day I'd say it's a Saab 700 raw. Um, sometimes like companies like Micro Heli, I've purchased some of my beginner helis like my Blade Fusion 180 and my other smaller helis. I'll find myself buying an upgrade kit for it, and if you really think about it, they sell every part for the entire airframe. That would be considered an entire clone and an entire, knockoff at that point. Also, I mean, it's just, I think it's bad. It's bad enough to, it's already bad enough that not many people are doing this hobby, and it's kind of just dying down. And you know, to me, is if I can have every model, I will, and I would. Um, and hopefully I can get more helis out here. I understand there are brands out there that completely just steal from the design and they go just based off that design and call it theirs. Like, I guess, what do you have, like in a line, you'll have Garrett or Terret, not sure. I've seen those, and yeah, I wouldn't purchase that over the original. I mean, if I know that a line makes that helicopter, you know I'd go with their original kit. I mean, there's really no difference, anyways, from getting a Terra and an Align, other than maybe parts, machined, differently and better from the original. But that's a short take on that because that was kind of the deal breaker for me, and I was just kind of trying to overlook that. and get past it so that I can just, get the actual helicopter I like. And I honestly prefer this heli design over the Saab 700. The Saab 700 looks way nicer in my opinion with their canopy and just the way it's all, put together, but I just don't like the way the servo layout is on that on the Saab. I really prefer a servo. All my servos mounted vertically, and that one has two vertical for the roll ones. They're mounted vertically, and then your pitch one is your elevators mounted sideways. I don't like that. I mean, that's just my preference. Um, I kind of like a more symmetrical design, and this is what I like, what I'm used to. Um, One thing here, I want to start right at the tail because this is one thing that really caught my eye, and I thought was very neat. Just the way that they, went for this design. You have this very cool pulley. The pulley is it's exposed, so it's enlarged, exposed, and it does have a belt guide so that it won't fall off, and it's right in the front, and it's very nice because it has zero the belt and the that little idler pulley that goes on top of the roller on top of the belt. It's just perfect so that the belt, whether you have it too tight or too loose, it just always has it, engaged on the teeth. It's meshed, very well. It won't lift off or anything like that. Um, they went with the pitch slider. It's rounded. It's not like the line or the other helis where they have like the screw. It's got this spinning pitch slider, and it's a good thing that they went for this specific part. I believe it's Delrin or nylon, not sure, but it'll reduce the noise and the blade grips. Like I like that tail hub. You got some nuts in there. I went with these rail blades, and it's kind of an argument. I don't know if people I don't know why people, kind of go with what they hear all the time. And, yeah, these blades are designed by Matt Bolos, and this heli, unfortunately, is claimed to be one of his stolen designs. And, I mean, I don't really think there's anything to steal here. I mean, it's like saying, hey, I invented the helicopter, and, why are you doing that? I mean, there's only so much you can do to design this. I'm not saying that I can design one or I will, or I'm not saying I can do a better job or the same job. What I'm simply saying is, if he designed this helicopter, there's not much of the, you know, like it's not like he came up with the entire thing. I mean, yeah, it's like I guess you can have, an argument. I've heard that, for example, the main head, the design is similar to the synergies, and it's practically his design. And okay, you can argue that, but what exactly is new, as aside from aesthetics, looks, but what exactly is different that you can argue that your main head has, aside from other helicopter heads, main heads, or like what is the swash plate? What's different from the swash plate? Like what is it doing differently? Like what's the the geometry change, or whatever that's making it stand out from the rest. As far as the design goes, I mean, it's just a it's just a basic, it's practically the same thing. This thing is similar to my Fusion 480. You know, everything's the same. There's really nothing different. I guess you can have, I mean, the head looks a little different just because of design. I mean, but is it just for aesthetics, just for looks, or is it because it's gonna serve any specifics, purpose that you were trying to pursue? I mean, this is just what it comes down to. It came down to for me, and I'm not trying to say anything about anybody, but whatever their argument is, I'm gonna just leave it up to them. And if Matt Bolos wants to kind of give his side of the story, and Yintech give their side of the story, then that's fine. I'll read it, but I'll still buy the product. Um, it's a good bird. There's no reason why no one should buy it. It's not a clone in my opinion. I think that many companies do rebrandings, and that's okay. I mean, even in your automotive business, I mean, they rebrand vehicles, left and right all the time. And that's just the way it is. I mean, I understand if you like invented something, but this is innovation. I mean, there's really nothing invented here. I mean, people gotta understand the difference from a new invention and something that has been innovated. If this was a brand new invention, I'd understand, and I'd be on Matt Bolos' side all day, and it wouldn't be up for an argument, because if he invented whatever he did on this, then it's arguably, something that we can really argue about, because it's like, hey, no one had this, he had it first, and it's patent, and why are you copying what he's took so much time to figure out. And I guess, yeah, I mean, looking for a design, and it comes down to, I guess, what companies can also argue is like, hey, you use our equipment and our stuff, our team to kind of get there. I mean, yeah, they have every right to say that, and they have every right to really use every part that you've helped them design, because at the end of the day, you guys are a team. And they can take you off the team, or you can leave the team, and regardless of what's been done is done. I mean, what's left behind is left behind. That's it. Just is what it is. And anyone that wants to kind of enlighten me with the whole issue with Synergy and Matt, I'd be more than happy to kind of read up on that stuff, and maybe I'm wrong about some things, and maybe I'm saying things I shouldn't. But as far as this helicopter goes, leaving all that stuff aside, I'm gonna stop my ranting, and I'm gonna just say this thing's a very nice piece of equipment. It's very well made. I love the boom. It's you got a like an octagon shaped boom. It's like a rectangular, octa boom. I like how it's tall. It makes it look very rigid. The presence in the sky, I'd assume would be really nice. I haven't flown it yet. I'm probably gonna go with 12S. Probably just go with the 120 amp and 500 kV motor. That's what I'm running on my Align 700E. You got your main head has washout arms. I really do love whoever designed it. Shout out to them. If this was you, Matt, this is a very nice head. It's not what I've seen on the Synergies, but it does look kind of similar. But very nice head, and well thought out. Swash plate looks very nice. Looks solid. And then down here we have your upper frame. Then we have this very large, I believe is a 155 tooth main gear, CNC'd. Both your main gear and your belt pulley main gear they're both CNC'd, but the belt has aluminum belt guides. The belt pulleys, those are also that's all aluminum. And your lower panel, you do have this nice locking battery tray pin. I really like that. You can also upgrade that pinion to an 8. I think is a maximum size of an 18 tooth, and that'll give you I guess you can really work around for your ratio for your whatever setup you're going with, whether it be 6S or 12S. Landing gear, This landing gear looks kind of like exactly like the Align. Is it a clone? I don't think so. I mean, it's just like I said, new design, something that works, and it's gonna be used. I really do love this battery tray. Give me a sec. It's all aluminum. I like how it's narrow. It's not too bulky. It looks rigid. It just slides right in there. It's not really it's not too different from other birds. I mean, it's similar. I mean, there's not much to talk about. I mean, I like the way I really do like the way it is, and it's very easy to work on. Maybe one day I'll get a Saab 700. I'm not sure yet. Some people have told me things about Saabs as well that I'm not sure if it's true. I really don't kind of go with what they say, which is why I got my 7.0 Tron. I guess people say that the Saab 700s, or any of the Saabs, they like to discontinue some of their birds, really quick. And, you know, I don't know. If that's the case, have to look into it. I guess my whole thing about getting a new helicopter, my main thing is having someone who's going to really back up their product and kind of keep me in the air for a long time. Like Align has done for many of you and still doing for me after, this is a 10-year-old bird or more, and it's still here, and it's, still have parts for it. Let's compare it to the Align. Here's the Align. Put the canopy on the Tron. The Align doesn't really look too old for its design. It looks kind of ahead of what it was in its time. But yeah, there's not many differences. I mean, other than you have a belted tail, that main gear, is pretty damn big, if you ask me. It gives it some presence in the air. I honestly prefer that larger main gear. I appreciate a big gear like that. That's another thing I kind of did like on the Saab. It didn't have any gears exposed, and I guess that makes it a little easier and neater for organizing things and whatnot, because everything's just more compact. But this gear, I mean, it looks nice. It's kind of cool seeing it rotate. Sometimes you kind of get the mechanical, you know, visuals in the air, and it's cool. But yeah, that tail, guys, that tail is what made it for me. Did it for me. I really appreciate that tail. It looks really neat. Part of the thing that gets me into this hobby too is when I work on these things, I kind of really just like to appreciate the mechanical, you know, design, just the way everything works and moves. And yeah, if you guys have any recommendations on ESCs, maybe something that I can use for with telemetry that will work with my DX8 or my IX12 transmitter, shoot me a message. And here's the let's compare the 480 to the Tron, because you like I said, you really don't get much design change. Honestly, it's just gonna be a lot of the if they're gonna go with their whatever swatch display they want, 120 degree, whatever it is that they decide to go for, whatever purpose the helicopter was, or their geometry they're trying to get for I don't know what advantage, but you know, the Tron. Take this canopy off. Man, I really love that canopy design and the color, you know, it's super bright. I don't think the camera will do any justice. Seeing it in person is probably the best thing, like anything else. So, what do we have here? Fusion 480, we have a single side frame. It's one large panel. This frame, I've crashed this heli actually 4 times, and of all those crashes, I've never damaged the frame once. So it's rigid. Up here, you got your, I love what Blade does with their servos, the way they mount their servos. It's just very neat. You know, it looks, you know, solid, and it's very easy to work on. And I'm gonna also kind of touch base on this one too. I really love what they did with this one because the servos point out and you can access your servo arms and everything with ease. And they both have their markings on the head for 0 pitch. And I found the one on my 480 is actually accurate. Bearing blocks, like for example, these bearing blocks are also identical. The bottom one can go on the bottom, the top to the top. I really appreciate that because now you just, you know, you can use them. You don't have to worry about mixing them up. The main gear, I really love the main gear on this one. They have the belt pulley is all aluminum, and you got your really tall, nice, you know, CNC cut gear. And you got your motor. I love that they mounted at the bottom, just because it gets out of the way of the battery. Now for 700s, I really don't mind. I prefer that top because I prefer my batteries being mounted at the bottom. Not that I've ever seen batteries mounted up top. Yeah, landing gear, carbon fiber. I really do like this landing gear. It looks like it's, you know, it's got a, like if it's kind of raked forward and it looks like it's fast. It gives it an aerodynamic design look. You got a very wide boom, no struts, no strut booms. I mean, no strut supports, boom supports, whatever you want to call them. You know, you got your tail case and you got your adjustable, you know, the case slides forward. That adjusts your tension. Here's your pitch slider. As I mentioned, this one has a ball link. You got your belt pulley, all aluminum. And yeah, I mean, here you got your Tron. You got your beveled gears. You know, your bell crank and your pitch slider. See these design. I guess those designs are different, but you know they do the same thing. This is something that I appreciate though on all the new helicopters. They kind of get, you know, everyone just kind of veered away from doing, you know, boom supports and torque tubes, and that was more work. And honestly, not to say that, you know, a torque tube is, you know, I'm not bashing on the torque tube. I love it because replacing a torque tube tail is much easier and quicker than replacing a belted tail. But it's gotta be perfect. You can't have any kinks or bends or anything on the belt on the torque tube. And when it comes to a belted tail, you can have a bent boom and that thing probably still fly and dented or whatever, as long as your belt is not snapped or torn. Not that I've ever seen one tear or rip. And you know, you got a similar same head design as a Fusion 480, 550 stretch. on the head, and this is something what most helis use nowadays. They kind of, I've seen less DFC heads and more main heads with washout arms, and I honestly prefer that. Why? Because having washout mixing arms, in my opinion, is better. Just because when you do crash, you only replace links most of the time. You just replace your feathering shaft, main shaft, and your swash to blade grip links. When you have a DFC head, well, guess what? Those links, these DFC arms, bend, and since they can't snap off, the most of the time they will pop off the swash. But if they don't, most of the time it's gonna bend that blade grip arm, and you can replace those too, but it might just strip it out of the arm. I do like this design. It's a vertical design for the mounting point on the arm, and I feel like that's going to be much stronger. Yeah, it's a neat helicopter. You know, it was easy to build, even without the manual. I got by and everything's in the right place. Um, I guess a quick little build. You know, it took me about an hour to get it, you know, all set up. I really do like this design for the push rod, for the tail blades. It's just kind of funky to service, I guess. If you want to replace that, I don't see how you'd break that, but if you do break it, I mean, you're replacing the whole boom and installing another one anyways. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Just trying to give you guys a nice detailed, you know, look of the whole bird. Yeah. Anyways, there's not really much to show, but here it is. It's just an airframe for now. Alright guys, well, thanks for watching, and see you soon. We'll post a video of me flying it. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Bye bye.